Buying cars below MSRP is certainly harder than it used to be. But believe it or not, vehicle prices are improving and more cars are selling at a discount, and more dealerships are offering incentives for prospective car buyers. Whether it's financing incentives, purchase price discounts, or even if it's just leaving off these shady dealership add-ons that all of us hate. The truth is, in today's car market, there is absolutely no reason to be paying above MSRP on any car. Now, whenever I came up with the idea for this video, my original plan was to talk about the automakers that you shouldn't buy from if you're someone who's wanting to get a discount. With the idea behind this being that automakers with high inventory levels are selling cars below MSRP, while automakers with low inventory levels are selling cars for above MSRP. And if you want to buy a car with a discount, you really need to buy from automakers that have high inventory levels, while avoiding the automakers that have lower inventory. But once I began actually doing the research for this video, I came to the conclusion pretty quickly that that actually wasn't the case. And in this current car market, there really isn't, at least in most cases, a rhyme or reason behind which automakers are charging above MSRP versus which ones aren't. And truthfully, dealerships are just sort of all over the place whenever it comes to pricing. But to really understand this, let's dig into the data. First, with some quick stats. The average listing price for a new vehicle at the start of April was $47,240. This is $177 more than this time last year, which equates to about 1%. This is a great sign, and it is a very clear indicator that car prices are absolutely stabilizing. And to me, while only time will tell, this is also an indicator that maybe, just maybe, if the demand trend that we're currently seeing continues, maybe this 1% price increase that we saw year over year in April will turn negative sooner than later. Fingers crossed. Now, vehicles under $40,000 continue to have the tightest supply, while high-end tire ticket vehicles as well as mid-range vehicles continue to have the largest supply. And the average day supply for vehicle inventory is 72 days. Now, when we look at major automakers, 24 of them have more than the average amount of supply. 5 of these 24 have actually more than double the average supply, and 11 automakers have less than the average. Now, the automakers with more than double the average supply, meaning they have more than 144 days of supply, are Jaguar, Dodge, Ram, Alfa Romeo, and Fiat. And if you didn't notice a trend across these automakers, well, you should have, because 4 out of the 5 automakers with the largest amount of inventory come from the same automaker umbrella, and that's Stellantis. In fact, when it comes to different types of automakers, Stellantis for the most part has some of the largest inventory available, which definitely isn't a good look. Because of the 5 highest inventory makes, Dodge, Ram, Alfa Romeo, and Fiat are all under the Stellantis umbrella, while Jeep and Chrysler, 2 automakers that don't have double the inventory, but they do have well above average, they are also part of Stellantis. And as we can probably all expect, Stellantis is discounting their cars, and they are also offering incentives, like cash allowances, 0% APR or bonus cash, and a measly $1,000 cash allowance from Fiat. Come on, Fiat. And if you search through third-party listings, you can find that many of these cars are listed for below MSRP. Now, of course, in addition to Stellantis, we do have a variety of other automakers that also have their inventory piling up. Lincoln is once again one of the automakers with the highest inventory with 130 days. And as we talked about last month, Lincoln is in fact discounting cars on their website, especially older models that they need to offload. Volvo and Polestar also have high inventory levels of 122 and 110 days. Mazda, Infiniti, Genesis, Nissan, Ford, and more. Now, all of these brands that have larger than the average amount of inventory available are brands that in theory should be giving discounts. And this is actually where I had originally planned to pivot this video and talk about how automakers that don't have large amounts of inventory are ones that aren't really discounting their vehicles, and comparing what discounts across high inventory versus low inventory automakers really looks like. And I had originally guessed that automakers that had very low inventory levels were the same automakers that were selling more predominantly above MSRP weren't offering discounts or incentives. But instead, what I found was that that actually isn't the case. And to really show this, let's look at some of the different automakers with the lowest inventory count. First, we have Honda. Now, granted, Honda isn't exactly a hot and sexy brand right now, though they are popular, but Honda has the 3rd lowest inventory of any major automaker with just 46 days, well below the industry average. But if you look at Honda dealerships and vehicle listings, the vast majority are at MSRP, and there are plenty that are priced below. Lexus is certainly a hotter and sexier brand than Honda, but one that also has low inventory, so I was expecting for Lexus to have plenty of cars that were priced well above MSRP. MSRP. But this wasn't the case either. And while there aren't as many Lexus vehicles priced below MSRP, there are still a number of them, and there are plenty that are priced at MSRP. And last but not least, Toyota. Toyota has the lowest inventory of any automaker by quite a bit, and as of most recent data, they have 33-day supply of inventory, less than half the industry average. And while sure, Toyota has plenty of hot cars coming out in 2024, like the Tacoma TRD Pro and Trail Hunter, the Land Cruiser, and of course the 6th-gen 4Runner, which is coming out later this year. And while these specific hot new cars will most likely be priced above MSRP, in fact, I confirmed that in a recent video that I made talking about this exact subject, Toyota in general does have a lot of other, less hotly anticipated vehicles that are actually priced below MSRP. Even cars that are in high demand like the RAV4, which is extremely popular. This is important because in theory, of all of the different automakers out there, Toyota should have the highest prices relative to their MSRP. Because not only does Toyota have the lowest inventory levels across different automakers, but they also sell a lot of cars. And so you would think that you would expect to pay above MSRP even for the most basic Toyotas. But that simply isn't the case, and there are actually a lot of Toyotas that are priced below MSRP, though they're not going to be the hotly anticipated cars that I mentioned a moment ago. And the conclusion that I've come to with all of this information is that in this current car market, you can find cars from most automakers at MSRP, if not below. And while dealership incentives certainly aren't where they should be, they absolutely have improved. And that if you are somebody who is wanting to get a below MSRP price on your next vehicle purchase, rather than avoiding specific automakers as a whole, I would instead avoid specific dealerships. Because I have found that in this current market, dealerships is actually one of the, if not the biggest factor whenever it comes to determining whether or not a make, model, or trim level will have a dealership markup or not. Because across most vehicle makes and models, there are dealerships selling the exact same or nearly identical cars for different prices, with some dealerships charging above MSRP and some not. And so the truth is, when it comes to buying a car in this market, make sure to do your due diligence and make sure that you know exactly what to expect from the dealership that you plan on purchasing from. Of course, this is with the exception of hotly anticipated cars that are coming out this year, which will no doubt have markups. Because these exceptions aside, there are a lot of dealerships throughout the country that are selling cars at a discount, regardless of the make and inventory level. And in order to do this research, you can turn to resources like markups.org, you can call the dealership directly, or you can even look at third-party websites like cars.com. And of course, if you go to buy a car and you find that your dealership tells you that markups are the new standard, that low inventory is causing prices to go up, or there is still a supply and demand issue, just know that they're absolutely full of crap and you should go to a different dealership. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.